Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am, the one and only, Silver the Hedgehog here, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as you probably expect at this point in time. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, PC Steam, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we have basically managed able to start things off during the forms of in Super Monkey Ball 1 Challenge Mode by going for the forms of not only one difficulty mode, but two difficulty modes, which there are Casual Mode and Normal Mode. And overall, we actually did the Casual Mode no problem, with no fallouts or anything. Although, as far as Normal Mode, as far as this is concerned, there are a few occasional moments where I somehow accidentally fell off quite a few times, but overall, it's actually not too shabby for the most part. So today, for this video is about the fact that we'll be able to continue things on in Super Monkey Ball 1 Challenge Mode by tackling through Expert Mode. Now, I originally did say about the fact that I was expected to be able to tackle through not only Expert difficulty, but also with Master difficulty, but I should probably point things out right from the start. I'm thinking I might also save Master Mode for a separate video, and during that some point until tomorrow, because obviously about the fact that with Expert and Master in mind, that both of those difficulties are pretty difficult. So, yeah, I'm also able to actually go ahead and focus on Expert for now on, for the sake of the forms of today, and by that time until tomorrow, I should probably decide able to tackle through Master Mode. So, just in case it all makes it a little bit more balanced when it comes to the forms of certain length as far as this is concerned. So, anyway though, so as far as Expert Mode as far as this is concerned, the amount of stages we can able to get up to is stage 1 all the way up to stage 60. So as a result about the fact that we can expect that we can able to go through not only 50 regular stages, but also 10 extra stages as well. Meaning about the fact that you will still come across into the exactly same levels as the forms of how it does it on not only from the likes of the beginner level or casual mode, but also with normal mode as well. Like for instance that we might come across into Blow Bridge for the third time, and especially noticeable with Hit Harder for the second time, and on top of that with Banana Plate for the third time. So because of that though, yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going to be considering for this point. So, but either way though, everything else will be pretty much expected. And it's also worth noting for is about the fact that we were able to come across into bonus basic for the third and probably for the final time, and same plus with the forms of bonus wave, and especially noticeable with bonus grid, and on top of all that stuff though with the forms of some other stuff worth noting for. So anyway though, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is about the fact that today's date of course is the 22nd of July today, in this case in 2023 today. Naturally speaking, we've only just got about roughly about, I would classify for saying it's going to be like 10 days to go until we moved on to the next month, which appears to be August after all. Oh, and by the way, something's worth noting for this stage in particular, as I was experiencing right now, thank God there's no sun glare that's trying to block your viewing. So because of that though, it should make things a little bit more easy to manage, especially noticeable because concerning about that particular point where, and also I just realized about the fact that similar to normal mode, basically we will come across into 60 seconds in this particular bonus stage, as you can tell. None of those changes, so as a result, I have no idea. They refused able to go for 30 seconds, but oh well, no big deal. It's still relatively easy when you managed able to complete the stage, although what's worth noting for is about the fact that the more you collect those bananas or rings, essentially for Sonic's case, basically those about the fact that you're able to grind for more points to able to spend on certain other stuff during the course of the actual points shop. So, but I digress. And something tells me about the fact that we might come across into one of those familiar stages coming up that gives a lot of people a massive PTSD back in the day. Well, specifically for those who ever experienced that stage to begin with, on not only in Super Monkey Ball 1, but also in Super Monkey Ball Deluxe as well. And meaning about the fact that we've meet again with Exam C. But except this time, we now actually have more time limit. So as you can tell, we start the stage off as in 90 seconds, which is an interesting change it, or interesting change rather, in comparison to the forms of how it does it when it does it normally. So, but either way, but still it's incredibly difficult at times, mainly due to the fact that you have to be so specific with your movement, speed, and all that stuff. In addition to that though, I swear to god, the staircase section is actually a lot difficult this time around, because normally, I was expecting if I was trying to do this no problem, but as a result, I just keep on falling off on that particular section worth noting for, so... Anyway, a few things I want to explain for this point, and that is about the fact that it's kind of unfortunate that one of those plans for Steam was supposed to happen, but as it turns out about the fact that recently, that Dolphin Steam emulator has officially been cancelled due to the forms of illegal reasons. So because of that though, it's kind of a bummer though, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, as a result, that there's going to be a lot of legal stuff every nowadays, especially noticeable concerning about that particular point where, that if you miss out on the forms of a lot of GameCube stuff nowadays, especially noticeable how expensive certain GameCube games are these days now, but as a result for that kind of stuff though, it's kind of unfortunate that particular project has been cancelled during that specific period, especially concerning about that particular point where, well, it's a bit tricky to explain, because I know for a fact it's been about 6 days ago since I actually not only last played this game, but it's also short things worth noting for, and that is about the fact that, well, relatively at this point, about the fact that hopefully that Ray the Flying Squirrel will be feeling a lot better, usually for the sake of the forms of until next week, because as far as what Rosalina has already explained about this ever since in yesterday's unexpected video game collection video, usually focuses on import games. Like, for instance, the majority of them is the American games. Well, it's kind of unfortunate that we haven't got, you know, so many Japanese import games, at least expecting about the fact that if we were expected to able to include certain virtual console games, like specifically Mario's Super Picross for the Super Famicom, and especially noticeable with certain other stuff you know as well. But either way, that's just the way how I usually can able to describe about the specific stuff worth noting for. So anyway, let's talk about the forms of certain content that's going to be on its way, specifically for Mario Kart Tour. Now, as a result, is about the fact that the next tour is going to be, it is Sunshine Tour, which should be expected about the fact that it's still in summer, of course, even though it's kind of unfortunate in the UK's case, because obviously we're able to experience some very rubbish weather conditions these days. Especially noticeable, we were expecting to able to have ourselves some nice weather conditions, like summer and stuff like that, or usually hot summer and stuff like that. But it's kind of unfortunate that in the UK countries seems able to be incredibly lacking with that particular weather condition right now. Although, unlike the forms of how it does it on most countries, that I suppose that Ray has completely forgotten to mention about, during the course of a Super Mario RPG Let's Play so far, that is about the fact that when it comes to not only America, but also during the forms of in China as well, and especially noticeable with Italy, Spain, Greece, and all that stuff, they somehow experienced the most, you know, extreme heat that they ever come across. Like, for instance, about the fact that they somehow goes up to, like, 40 degrees Celsius, which as a result that, my god, I felt so sorry for the particular countries throughout. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, I couldn't imagine about the fact that if I was expecting to able to go to Super Nintendo World in Hollywood during at some point, but I don't think it's possible for this year, mainly because about the forms of the extreme heat that's been going on, especially concerning about that particular point that imagine if I go there while the actual extreme heat comes into play, and my god, it will be incredibly boiling there. Especially noticeable because concerning about that particular point where it's probably best for me to able to save up and doing at some point until next year, if possible. But either way though, that might be saying something for a later time. Especially noticeable because concerning about the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking though, we're actually getting, you know, very close towards the end of July before we move on to the 8th month, which is August. And we were expecting about the fact that we were able to see not only for its Pokemon Presents Direct, but also about the fact that we can able to talk about some sales figures during the forms of certain Nintendo Switch stuff, although we might also able to hear some more confirmation during the course of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom sales-wise, because obviously about the fact that I suppose we're able to mention more details about that during at some point into an August, potentially speaking. So, anyway though, yeah, let's talk about the Forms of the Sunshine Tour in Mario Kart Tour's case, despite the fact that I'm still not overly keen on that game all that much though, because obviously after the events of I already managed able to fully complete it, everything in Wave 5 in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by that point. And as a result about the fact that it kind of sucks for me to able to take a break on that game again, and then able to actually focus on something else. Although, luckily we did somehow manage able to play through Pikmin 4 in my own time for a bit, and oh no, I actually had a lot of enjoyable experience with the game so far. Although mind you about the fact that it does take me a bit of some time to able to get used to with how the game mechanics works, and especially noticeable with the forms of how certain stuff plays out. Oh yeah, speaking of which though, is about the fact that as far as you probably already know, that Maxi did actually make its guest appearance during the course of the Cap King 74's final Pikmin 3 video that involves around Bingo Battle. And as a result about the fact that apparently Maxi got involved during the forms of that particular video in mind, usually for the Maxi toys in some cases though. So, kind of interesting all things considered, especially noticeable about the fact that it's been about, I don't know about you, 10 years ago since when Maxi has met up with the forms of Stuart. Ever since in 2013, whenever they managed able to last play games to each other, like for instance with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, and especially noticeable with Mario Party 4, and I would say Super Smash Bros. As well, and I think if I recall correctly, Wii Party as well. So, but either way though, that must have been said something, so. And as far as I'm aware about the fact that usually Maxi just somehow managed able to get pretty okay experience in Bingo Battle, even though about the fact that he only won 1 point, and that's what appears to be on stage 4, probably because about the fact that, well, sometimes that the item locations for the bingo items can be randomized at times, so. But either way, and as you can tell, I'm having a bit of struggles with the forms of floor slant for some reason, because my god, the actual movement feels a bit weird at points, especially noticeable. I was trying to able to tilt the control stick slightly further from the other directions, but most of the time, I just keep on getting fluked off by the forms of that particular unexpected bounce. So either way, now let's move on to Tram, in this case one of the largest levels in Super Monkey Ball 1 by far, although mind you about the fact that the actual length is still pretty short, despite the fact that we need to keep on dodging those bumpers, and thankfully, unlike in a PAL version of Super Monkey Ball 1, thank god there's no lag, so because of that though, thankfully you don't have to worry about the massive slowdown, so. Oh, and unfortunately though, when it comes to the amount of slowdowns I've been experiencing so far, recently not only does me, but also with the forms of Sonic as well, during the course of not only in Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, but also with the forms of Sonic Frontiers as well. Somehow, unfortunately though, Sonic seems to have a lot of struggles with the forms of that commentary at the moment, during the course of in Sonic Frontiers so far, mainly because about the fact that every time when the laptop decides to lag again, and as a result, it just instantly cuts off the actual commentary itself, which, as a result, me and Sonic definitely need to able to fix that problem, especially noticeable until before, when Ray decides to become a lot better when it comes to fully recovered by the forms of the sickness bug. So, but either way though, I'm sure about the fact that me and Sonic were able to try to fix that issue, so. But I digress. In terms of content we've able to actually consider getting, for the sake of Mario Kart Tour and Sunshine Tour, that will have to be by the forms of, well, there's only one new driver somehow, and that's what it appears to be. I would say the final color variation of Yoshi. So as a result, we'll explain more of that in a moment. So either way, there goes the forms of bonus grid for the second time, and as a result, we can now move on to the desert environment. So everything else goes all fine and dandy and everything, despite I keep on getting bumped by certain obstacles and stuff like that, but that's okay, because again, Thankfully, you can able to die as many times as you want, because unlike in Super Monkey Ball 1, in order able to actually access the extra stages in expert difficulty, you have to be sure you need able to actually go ahead and complete expert without using any continues. So yeah, that might be the ultimate challenge when it comes to get to certain points, but not only trying to able to actually access to expert extra stages, but also with master mode as well, for able to actually tackle through every single stages throughout. So at least for the most part, it's about the fact that when it comes to expert levels in Super Monkey Ball 1, thankfully it feels a little bit more shorter, in comparison to the forms of sometimes in Super Monkey Ball 2's case. Basically though, sometimes I feel like the actual level lengths might felt a bit lengthy at one point, so, which is especially noticeable about that time until once we get to, like, let's just say next weekend or something. Obviously about the fact that we can able to actually explain more details about that particular topic for later, so. Now, in terms of the forms of other stuff worth noting for, as far as this is concerned, that once you finish up with the forms of 4 difficulty levels, in certain challenge modes anyway, you do have the ability to able to unlock Marathon mode, which, I will be honest, I don't think I can probably show you guys Marathon for the sake of time, mainly because it plays pretty much exactly the same as the other separate difficulties, although the noticeable difference this being about the fact that, well, usually you don't go through repeated levels throughout, so at least that's a good thing, especially concerning about that particular point where that if you're getting sick of the forms of seeing Blood Bleach most of the time, well, exponentially speaking though, is about the fact that they only shown one of those levels once, and exponentially no repeats at all. So yeah, that's as far as saying goes, that's where you really try to say about the forms of how Marathon mode plays out during the course of in the Super Monkey Ball 1 challenge mode, as far as this is concerned, especially concerning about that particular point where basically though is about the fact that every single stage just remains the same, aside from the forms of how the fact you have to go through one in particular marathon throughout. So, you know, think of like the forms of Ultimate Mode for the sake of the forms of Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, except the fact that both of those you know, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 stages are separate for one another when it comes to like modes and such. So, even though, again, it's a bit tricky to explain because, again, it's been about 6 days ago since I've last played this game, because obviously about the fact that at this point in time that I've been busy playing through Pikmin 4 for a little bit. Even though, mind you, there are a couple of times I might decide able to take a break for one day or the other, because sometimes though about the fact that I'm obviously going to be playing something else, like, you know, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania as I was playing right now, and especially noticeable with Sonic Frontiers to able to actually practice the forms of certain difficult challenges, like for instance with New Cocos, and especially noticeable with Action Chain challenges, and especially noticeable with the forms of cyberspace time attack modes, and especially noticeable with the entire marathon of this as well. So it's not possible to able to do this trick on the right side, so yeah, let's just go to the left side. So anyway, in terms of new content that we're about to be getting for Mario Kart Tour's next tour, which appears to be, of course, Sunshine Tour, for whatever reason, they've shown us the actual spotlight track of Daisy Cruiser, which as a result, I will admit though right away, is that when it comes to the actual trailer itself of Sunshine Tour, I would say that the actual trailer is disappointing, most notably because obviously not only do we able to hear Daisy Cruiser music for some reason, I get it because of the forms of the Sunshine theme to it though, which is understandable, but some people complain about the fact that, well, at least luckily, we're able to actually get ourselves our new track returning, based off from, once again, Mario Kart Super Circuit, except this time, it appears to be the returning track, and that will bring back Lakeside Park, ever since in Special Cup in Mario Kart Super Circuit, which I think is actually quite intriguing to able to see that track returning during the course of in a Mario Kart Tour, despite the fact that the visual style wasn't exactly my cup of tea, in my opinion, But regardless of everything else though, it's nice to see the forms of Lakeside Park get its remastered treatment, and as a result, the only disappointing aspect about this though is that during the course of the actual trailer itself of Sunshine Tour, it doesn't show that much gameplay footage, aside from the fact that it's shown us the forms of a new driver, which is only one by the way. That's what appears to be the final color variation of Yoshi, specifically Yellow Yoshi. So because of that though, yeah, I'll get to more details on that in a moment. So either way, in terms of everything else I could possibly say about this, is about the fact that when it comes to the forms of other topic worth noting for, and that is that what I've looked upon something recently, that is about the fact that apparently though, the original Teen Titans TV series has recently became 20 years old just recently. So because of that, I've got no comments on that particular series, sadly, because obviously about the fact that when I somehow looked at it, it seems pretty alright. Even though, mind you, it does feel a lot better than the forms of that stupid reboot that we've been having throughout the years, which is specifically Teen Titans Go, because obviously Teen Titans Go managed to get a lot of haters for its fan service, especially concerning about that particular point where you probably already know what I get the feeling about that particular point, so... But I digress. Oh, and another thing too, and that is about the fact that, well, happy 21st anniversary of another one of those series in the actual 2000s era. That's what appears to be by the forms of the adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, since when it first came out in 2002, which I kind of believe has been 21 years ago since that particular show was appeared, after that particular movie adaptation and stuff like that back in 2001, so... But I digress. There's also another thing I should probably explain, and that is about the fact that when I looked on the actual PlayStation 5 controller based off from Spider-Man 2, and as a result, oh man, it looks so cool, I'm not gonna lie. Especially, it's kind of unfortunate that we still haven't got ourselves our PlayStation 5 still, but regardless of such though, the actual controller itself based off from Spider-Man 2, oh man, it just looks so radical, especially noticeable. I love the actual sleek design, and especially noticeable about the fact that obviously we get ourselves a Spider-Man logo in the actual touchpad, and on top of that, with all that black on the left, and some red on the right. So, but either way though, I must say it does look pretty cool though, and I think it might able to actually release, to go alongside with the forms of, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, as far as this is concerned, and exponentially speaking, it's going to be releasing during the exactly the same day, as in the forms of Super Mario Bros. Wonder as well. So because of that though, yeah, it seems about the fact that we're going to get a lot of releases during the forms of October during that particular period, so... Oh, anyway, another topic I would like to mention before I get into the actual new content they've got, for the sake of Mario Kart Tour's next tour, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is expected to be releasing on Disney Plus at some point on the 2nd of August. So, yeah, not much else to talk about, because usually, despite the fact that I've seen that film twice, much like the forms of Super Mario Bros. Movie, so as a result, I don't mind about it too much, because usually both of those are my huge priority, which I was still expecting about the fact that if I was trying to able to see Mission Impossible Dead Retconning Part 1, and I might give Barbie a chance, because what I've noticed is about the fact that the Rotten Tomatoes score is actually a lot higher than I was not expecting, which as a result, that's, even though it's kind of tricky to explain, because I know for a fact that, well, I might able to actually give that film a chance though, but either way, it's all depending on the forms of my busyness has been going on, especially because, well, you know what I'm talking about, so, and my god, this particular stage just throws me off, specifically Expo 32, which, gee, the ending portion is still very, very hard to do so, especially concerning about that particular point where, you know, thankfully we got ourselves the actual, the method of controlling the camera this time around, so at least that's a good thing still, but it's just that the ending portion of curvature stage is so stingy on my part, especially, gee, no wonder why, that back on the Xbox version of Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, that for what I've remembered, that usually Sonic did actually tell me something, that is about the fact that he got stuck on this stage for the longest amount of time. During the course of the expert run, on Super Monkey Ball Deluxe on the Xbox version. And because of that though, this is mainly due to the fact that there's no way you can able to take control of the camera angles and stuff like that. And in addition to that, it's just kind of tough at one point. So, anyways though, so at least we somehow managed able to pass for that particular level, thankfully. So, but at the very least though, we got ourselves a correct music track on the forms of, well, assuming of course if we do somehow manage able to set the classic OST. And basically, unlike in Deluxe though, where basically for whatever reason they just somehow reuse the Sky High theme music during the forms of the icicle snowy environments level. So yeah, it seems kind of strange though. So anyway though, I will admit though right away, I do like the actual remix music of the forms of the snowy environment world, although it sounds kind of similar to the forms of how it does it in the original counterpart, except the fact that I don't think I can able to hear it very well, mainly because I was trying to able to focus during the forms of some very tricky levels, so, but I digress. So yeah, let's talk about the forms of certain contents that we might get for the likes of the Sunshine Tour in Mario Kart Tour. And relatively speaking, as I said before, there's only one new driver that we're able to get during the course of the next tour coming up, and that's what appears to be Yellow Yoshi. And on top of that, the Mii Racing suit, as far as we've already predicted that, during the course of the past few weeks ago, that is of course, Toadette's Mii Racing suit is now a thing. So because of that, as far as for her special item as far as I'm concerned, it's basically similar to regular Toadette's. Like, she can still able to utilize triple mushrooms as the actual special skill item. So at the very least, that's that. So now as far as the next week, or potentially speaking as far as Mii Racing suit number 38, as far as I can recall, I believe if I recall correctly, the next Mii Racing suit after Toadette's Mii Racing suit, I believe we're about to be getting Wendy Mii Racing suit after all, because obviously about the fact that she was the only ones left when it comes to Mii Racing suits based off from Koopaling's left. So because of that though, because generally we've already got 4 Koopaling Mii Racing suits during the course of I would say in Bowser Tour, and on top of that we already got the 5th one and the 6th one during the course of the other tour later on. But now we finally got ourselves the 7th one during at some point until in August sometime. Now as a result, we're finally about to get ourselves the Windy Mii Racing suit after all. So relatively speaking, that pretty much wraps it up for the entire Mii Racing suit based off from the Koopaling characters. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell. And as far as I'm aware, if I recall correctly, maybe they're able to actually bring a heart item for Wendy Mii Racing suit, as far as I'm aware. Well, mind you about the fact that it keeps it well hidden for now on. So, but still, I can definitely recognize the forms of that particular bow silhouette for the sake of the forms of that, you know, that familiar Mii Racing suit in mind. So, yeah, I guess that's that. So, anyway, as far as everything else I could say, and that is about the fact that in terms of cart parts that we're about to be getting, and that appears to be by the forms of a yellow submarine themed cart, which I'm guessing it could be like, I don't know, it's a bit tricky to explain, because I know for a fact that we haven't exactly got into that particular tour just yet. But, as far as I'm aware, there's also going to be a blue variant of the submarine themed cart as well. And exponentially, also they're going to be bringing the yellow Turbo Yoshi cart. And finally, there's also the gold steel driver, which, as a result, there might be a good chance for me to able to obtain it. Because obviously I still managed to get myself my gold pass at the moment. So, either way though, it's probably not going to expire anytime soon, at least as far as I can able to tell for this point, because obviously my gold pass will able to expire until September, specifically the 12th of September as far as I'm concerned. So that might be a perfect opportunity to able to give me some good rewards. Then he forms of how it does is some of those lame rewards, as far as I can retell. So anyway, in terms of gliders that we might get, there's only 2 gliders we can probably get, and that's what appears to be Wavy Great Sail, and especially noticeable with Jellyfish Parachute, so that's interesting. And as far as courses, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one new course they were able to actually bring in cells to the table. Now, as I said before, is about the fact that we finally get a chance to able to see a remastered version of Lakeside Park. So because of that, very curious to know how that track is going to plays out to be. Like, exponentially, it might able to actually bring back the volcano interruption bit. Like, as far as I'm aware, at least as far as I can recall, in lap 1 of that particular track might be felt a bit like simple obtained, but as far as I'm aware in lap 2's case, the volcanoes decided to interrupt it, and as a result they might able to actually bring a lot of meteor rocks or something like that. So, but either way though, that's why I get the feeling from it. And also they decided able to bring back not only Daisy Cruiser, as you probably expect, but also they decided able to bring back Cooper Beach 2, based off from, you know, Super Mario Kart, which is weird, because we were expecting to able to see Cooper Beach 1 during the course of the films of that particular tour in mind, but no, apparently they still stick around with the second variation for some reason, which I know for a fact that we've almost got to the point where that when it comes to the films of some track layouts, as far as I'm aware, that we've basically almost wrapped things up for everything when it comes to certain tracks based off from Super Mario Kart, if I recall. And as a result of that kind of stuff though, I think I should probably let Ray the Flying Squirrel be able to mention more details about that, or Sonic for that matter, during the course of not only for Sonic Frontiers, but also Super Mario RPG as well. So, anyway though, but as I said before, it's about the fact I feel like the actual trailer itself is very lacklusterly disappointing to me though. That's just because about the fact that I just can't even believe they have briefly shown us Lakeside Park, and I just wish they'll bring some more footage to it just to see the actual full comparison of the forms of the original version back on the Game Boy Advance. And yeah, I can totally see why a lot of people got disappointed with that particular trailer, to me anyway. So anyway, there's also another thing I should probably explain about this as well, and that is about the fact that apparently for Team Fortress 2 has recently received, and they somehow reached for an all-time peak for current players. They somehow got up to like 253,997 players, and gee, no wonder why that game is gonna get pretty popular these days, back in the forms of when it first came out, since in 2007, and, well, despite the fact that I haven't exactly played the game for myself, you see, because I'm not exactly a huge first-person shooter fan, especially noticeable. I have tried the forms of one of those first-person shooter games, usually, for instance, in Halo, though, or Call of Duty, for that matter. My god, I can never get used to with the actual dialing, or specifically, dual analog sticks and stuff like that, because sometimes that my aiming shots feels a bit wonky at points, but either way though, I'm biased I guess when it comes to preferring different genres and stuff like that, which as to be expected at this point. So anyway though, so let's go ahead and move on to stage 48, and oh jeez, I was not expecting for that particular movement right there, but that's okay. Man, looking at the forms of that particular storm environment, as you can tell, that it just feels a lot more gorgeous and refreshing as well to able to revisit this amazing place. Because as a result of that kind of stuff though, not only does Sonic enable to actually experience this particular world environments like this, but also same applies with Tails, and especially noticeable with Hello Kitty as well, which even then though, it does sounds promising, so... Alright, so here we go with Coffee Cup, so let's get out able to... Oh jeez, okay. Oh come on. God dang it. Okay. I was not expecting for that particular timing is a bit on the short side, but dang it. Darn you, bumper. But that's okay though, because we can just simply you know, keep trying as many times. Assuming of course about the fact that if you really want to go for a 400% playthrough of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, not only do you have to tackle for the forms of the majority of challenge modes, but also about the fact that you also need to tackle through mini games as well. because usually for certain party games also has missions as well. Like, some of them are easy, but some of them are actually really stingy. Like, I know for a fact that the Monkey Target got screwed over in this game, because obviously it matches exactly the same physics, compared to the forms of how it does it in Banana Blitz. So, yeah, I was not very happy about Monkey Target as once again got screwed over, so... Alright, here we go, on to the extra stages. So, either way though, as I mentioned this before, there's only 10 extra stages in Expert, so... And exponentially, it's gonna get a bit difficult, especially noticeable in Beneath, at least as far as I'm aware, that you need to be right on with those specific timing requirements when it comes to, like, going through panel to panel or tile to tile. So, either way, it takes a bit of time to be able to notice with the actual pattern, so... Oh, jeez, that always gets to me. Oh well, at least we'll keep trying, I guess. Oh yeah, and another thing too, and that is about the fact that recently, I would say, both Pyra and Mithra, based off from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, from the likes of the forms of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Amiibo lineup, I believe those two amiibos into a double pack did somehow came out also recently as well. So relatively speaking though, about the fact that something tells me that, usually relatively speaking, that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 actually receives a new update, specifically version 2.1.0, which I suppose I should probably save that particular topic and join at some point until tomorrow's video, because either way though, we're actually getting very close towards the end of Expert mode before we dive right into, without a doubt, the hardest challenge mode in the entire Super Monkey Ball Super Monkey Ball 1 challenge mode lineup, and that's of course Master difficulty. So because of that though, yeah, wish me luck I guess, especially because I definitely need it, so... Oh, this stage is gonna be a piece of cake, because you have to be able to just do that, and there you go, because I simply note that right from the start, especially noticeable, it doesn't seem as possible if you try to go just straight forward, because obviously if you do get straight forward, or go straight forward for that matter, then obviously you're not gonna make it. So, speaking of not making it though, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fall off, so yeah. It's like a harder version of Corkscrew in my opinion, based off from Super Monkey Ball 2. But that's okay though, because like I said before, it doesn't matter how many times you die, so, or fall off for that matter, so. I'm very surprised about the fact that we've never come across into any time overs once for certain situations, so, well, apart from the forms of Crazy Maze, because obviously I still despised Crazy Maze even to this day, just because of how confusing that can be. And then on top of all that stuff though, about the fact that no wonder why I haven't exactly touched that stage for quite some time, especially concerning about that particular point whenever I played the Xbox version of Super Monkey Ball Deluxe on my own time for a bit on the OG Xbox system, and no matter what though, I simply did not touch this stage at all, for the sake of the forms of trying to able to pass through or something like that. Unless assuming, of course, if I was trying to grind as many of those monkey lives as possible. But either way, though, that might be saying something, so... So, I suppose there's technically the last thing I want to mention for the sake of time for today. That is about the fact that I've noticed something right from the start though. Whenever I managed to go back onto My Little Pony Gameloft game on the iPhone devices, as a result, I actually stumbled across into myself the current event, which involves around like chaos variations of certain characters as far as I'm aware. Basically though, it's so weird able to see Princess Skystar got herself a chaos variation, which as a result, gee, she looks a lot more menacing than the forms of how it does it for the regular Princess Skystar. So because of that though, yeah, it seems kind of weird at first glance, but either way though, that might be something worth noting for. So anyway, so we got roughly 2 stages to go until we basically finished up everything in expert level. So actually I will admit though right away, it's actually not doing too bad for my run anyway for expert mode, despite the fact I did fell off quite a few times, specifically during the course of in Expert 32. I mean, my god, I have no idea why that stage still looks pretty tough even to this day. So, but either way though, let's just go ahead. I completely forgot about that particular hammer mallet right here. but I'm sure we're able to actually try this again, so... Alright, so it's got able to follow the hammer mallet as much as you can, and once we get to the final bits right there, just hit the goal immediately, because otherwise, if you're too slow, obviously you have to try the stage again, so... Yeah, not doing too bad, despite I did fail off quite a few times, but that's okay, because I already unlocked the actual missions completed, so that should be okay for my book. So, either way, I think, suffice to say, I think we should probably be ending off this point right here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, and that is about the fact that we'll hit on to the 4th difficulty level in Super Monkey Ball 1 Challenge Mode, and that is, of course, Master Mode. And my god, Master Mode will be a little bit more difficult, I might add. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, I'll explain more details about that until tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Later, fellas.